Greetings and salutations, nerds. You're listening to Praying for Superpowers,
a podcast about the deeper meanings, messages, and intricacies hidden within nerd culture. I'm Peter Jordahl.
And I'm Trevor Sharon, and today we're talking about Resident Evil.
I wish I could move and shoot at the same time.
That was a big issue in the fourth game specifically. You couldn't shoot and move at the same time, which was like, it made it more difficult doing it that way. We're talking about Resident Evil because the remake of Resident Evil 2 is coming out.
Which is their most successful game to date.
And it's important that we note that it's a remake and not a remaster. A remaster is where they go in and they make it all look pretty, like, so the Spyro Reignited series
it's the same game, better graphics, better movement quality, better sound.
You can actually play it. It's really fun.
Right.
It's good. A remake, and this is the really cool part of this release. The remake, they're redoing a lot of this. The puzzles are a little bit different. The storyline's just different enough. They've purposefully made this that if you were like most of us back in the 90s and 2000s, where you play a video game and you memorized it.
Because you had to.
Because you had to.
Because it used to be really difficult.
And you could still walk through that the Raccoon Police Department with your eyes closed. You won't be able to use a lot of that information in the remake. And I think that's really cool because there were a lot of puzzles, there were a lot of hidden things, a lot of jump scares, and Resident Evil does jump scares really, really well. And you won't be able to catch on to a lot of that, which I think is awesome.
Yeah. I've said before, I don't do horror. I don't generally see a reason to raise my own blood pressure.
And this is true because we played Dead by Daylight with Chris Jordahl a few nights ago, and all of us were like standing up screaming.
I was having I'm pretty sure I was having some PACs and some PVCs. My heart was firing rapidly, too rapid for the rest of my heart to understand. But yeah, just some. I do enjoy. I've enjoyed all of these games. I've played them each a bit. I definitely played 4 the most. Mm-hmm. I am excited to play 2 again now that the remake is coming out. Just some facts about Resident Evil. So it's owned by Capcom. So it's in the same world as Mega Man, which means it's totally plausible that.
Keep going. I need to adjust something.
Okay. Totally plausible that Leon Kennedy shows up in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate as a downloadable character at some point. Along with that, it's not called Resident Evil in Japanese, which is where it's from. It's a Japanese game. It's called Biohazardo. And I'm not saying that racistly. That's actually how it's pronounced. It's Biohazard with an O at the end. And I looked at the actual direct translation, and Biohazard means Resident Evil.
Really?
It loosely translates to something in this area is emanating evil.
Oh, that's way cool.
Which is super sweet to me. It sounds awesome. The original game released in 1998.
Yeah.
It was their best single platform game. So it came out on PlayStation, and it did better than the first one, and it has done better than each of the others for one platform.
Yeah.
Right? And January 25th. That's the release date of the remastered version. So you probably already know, but that's the day it's coming out.
Yep. I will probably have already saved some of my Christmas money so that I can buy the game.
Yeah.
I played the trailer for Resident Evil 7, and it was intense.
Yeah.
To me, it didn't, because I grew up with 4. 4 was really the biggest one for me as a kid. And it was like iconically Resident Evil. Like having Leon as a character is huge for me. And I've really enjoyed how Matt Mercer has been Leon Kennedy for several of the games.
Yeah.
And I love the Resident Evil franchise. I love Mia Jovovich. Jovovich, thank you. I just don't do well with name pronunciation, if you couldn't tell already. I love the movies because to me they're amazing. Like they're stuck between being an A movie and a B movie,
and they don't apologize for
Not
it.
at all.
And that's what's great is you randomly have this big zombie come around a corner with a machine gun that's been surgically attached in place of its right arm, and it starts firing off, and they just treat it like it's normal.
And speaking of unapologetic, so we all know that the Umbrella Company is responsible for the T virus,
Right.
which is the initial outbreak of zombies in Raccoon City.
Right.
And this happens right before Resident Evil 2. In Resident Evil 2, the big virus is the G virus. And they've gone through, I think, just about every letter in the alphabet of the T virus. I think there's a Z virus.
Well, there's the Zika virus. Just kidding.
That's where it came from. That's the origins, if you didn't know.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's just, it's really unapologetically, like, it has that corny, that original series Star Trek kind of corniness.
Yeah, where it's like, oh man, the president's daughter's been kidnapped. Better send one guy with a couple herbs to save the day, not mount an entire invading force.
Who also cannot move and shoot at the same time.
Completely incompetent.
Just so you're aware, Resident Evil 2, the remake, you can move and shoot at the same time. And if you remember in the original, the camera was like stationary. Like it was like
a stationary third person that
it was like a security camera.
Yeah.
And so you'd move around the room and it was one of those, 90s games where you move the controller up, but it moves the character closer to you because that's the way that they're facing, and you had to really wrap your mind around
Not
that.
like that anymore.
It's a over-the-shoulder camera, and graphically, it's awesome. Like, I think so for me, the coolest thing about Resident Evil 7 was it was graphically amazing. They did the horror really well. It had me on my toes. It was really frightening the entire time. The suspense was up there. You're trying to figure out a mystery at the same time and survive. You're not sure what's going to happen. Really well done. Bringing the Resident Evil franchise into the 21st century and really making it awesome and fits, 2018.
Now,
it didn't feel like a Resident Evil game for me.
It just felt like another game from this era.
Yeah. And so I'm really excited because Resident Evil 2, the remake, feels like a Resident Evil game that's going to be released in 2019.
Where you don't get a lot of ammo, and there are not a lot of saving spots.
Oh, yeah.
And the puzzles are really hard. And you will die instantly in random places where you're not expecting it, and there's nothing you can do about it. And it doesn't look like they've made it easier.
No.
It looks like it's just as hard, and they've changed it so you have like little to zero information going in.
Ada Wong's role in the game is very different, and you have to play as her differently, but it's not. I don't know if you remember. There's a Final Fantasy game where you play as Valentine, and there was one chapter. Some of you will remember this, where you play as Kat or Kate or whatever, the cat, and you have to avoid everything because if you get shot, you're going to die and blah, blah, blah. And it was just, there's always that scene in a video game or that level where you have to play as this character and they suck and you have to change the way you play. Ada Wong actually feels like an agent, like a spy in this game with some of the tools that she has.
Like she actually would have those abilities and tools, but they didn't give them to you because she was a girl.
Right.
In the original make. And now they're like, they realized, she actually should have all of these skills that we didn't give her.
Because she has them in the cutscenes.
Exactly.
But not when you play.
Not when you play as her.
It's just drawn. But it looks like they actually did that really well. So there are two things that I think Capcom in Resident Evil does really, really well. They are excellent at resource management and adding suspense through that. Mm-hmm. And they are excellent at nostalgia nods and fan nods.
Yeah.
They do a really good job of like, you think this is good? Oh, yeah, it's going to happen. And that happens throughout the remake, too. There are certain nods. There's a character that some will remember in Resident Evil 2 that was just, all he did was sit there and bleed. And he was useless. You talk to him once, and then he doesn't talk to you until he's important again. Now he actually interacts with you, which is important. And so there are things that they're doing better, and it's a really cool remake. And I'm not a fan of repeats. I'm not a fan of, hey, let's just redo everything that we've done before because we have better technology now.
Toy Story 4.
Let's continue a series that doesn't need to be continued.
Yeah. I do want to get into Toy Story 4 another time, but yeah.
But this really feels appropriate because you go back and you play some of these games, and it's really hard to play.
It is. Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time is so hard is because you can literally fall off any surface and die.
Yeah, and we're so unused to that.
Right, and like now that's not a thing. Like your character will actually go the direction you say, and he won't randomly jump.
Yeah,
for no reason, right? Like
controls are better; they're more refined. We're used to that now.
It to me, it's like the book Vampirates.
Yep.
It was done badly enough that I didn't really want to get into it too much. But if someone offered me a better version, I would be all on board. That's how I feel about Resident Evil 2 being remastered.
Okay.
Or remade.
Well, and hopefully we'll see how this goes. We might be crossing genres a little bit. But if I do get it, we'll have to record some sessions of us playing together.
We'll have to start our Twitch channel that we've joked about.
Oh, gosh.
Late at night in the dark. It's going to be great.
Yeah, we'll have all the lights off. It'll be awesome.
Oh, man. So, okay, here's the thing, though. We've been talking about the video games a lot. We mentioned the movies a bit. But if you don't like video games, right, there are 9 movies.
Yeah.
Six. There's 6 movies, right? So if you don't like video games, you've got 6 movies you can get into.
Which is honestly more movies than they deserve, but not as much as I want.
Right. Agreed. They're a great movie to throw on while you clean the house. But if you're not into watching scary films, that's okay. They have board games.
They do. And they're really good.
They're really good. There's a couple cards I would consider banning. Escape from Dead City. Basically just, if you don't play with that, the whole game changes and you actually need skill. It's not just buy as many of those as you can and you win. But it's like, Peter, what if I'm interested in Resident Evil, but I don't like video games, and I don't like movies, and I don't like deck building games. Well, what do I do? Well, I don't know.
What are you doing?
What are you doing watching this
show?
But basically, the Resident Evil franchise has built itself up. It's worth a couple $2 billion.
Yeah.
Just the franchise alone, not thinking any of the rest of what Capcom owns or has rights in.
Was so big, but this franchise alone is
a couple $1 billion. It's awesome to me how many realms they've crossed into.
And I think that this is a series that I really like, and we'll talk a little bit more about like Star Trek and how they've crossed genres as well and done things differently. But I really like it when you find a series that does something that you really like, and a world that you really like, a concept or a modality.
Yeah.
And then they switch it up, and so it's like, oh, now I can have a board game, or oh, now I can. Yeah, it's like having a poster, a CD, the soundtrack, the movie, like all of the other paraphernalia that's kind of out there. And Resident Evil does that really well because they've been around long enough. They're big enough that they can attempt to go into different worlds that a video game normally couldn't transcend to. Like, so many video games don't get a single movie, let alone 6 movies.
Right. And they get a board game and it's terrible.
Right.
And it's
not a board game with 5 expansions.
Right. That actually did really well and is now out of print and worth extra money.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'm not selling.
Yeah, I know.
I love this game.
When they re-release Resident Evil 1 in 50 years, you can sell it and buy a beach house.
Yeah. There you go.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. That and my Keyforge deck.
There you go. Oh, man. Keyforge. We talk about that in other episodes. It's a great game. Played it today. Very excited to give each of my siblings a deck for Christmas. So,
what is one genre or kind of platform that you wish Resident Evil was in that they aren't?
Are there books?
Oh, I'm sure there's books.
There's got to be.
There's got to be.
There's definitely quality. Some of the time, some quality fan fiction online.
Yeah.
but they've got to have books. I didn't even think to look into that realm. Honestly, I don't know if I could tell you. I want like a well done, well written D&D handbook that's a Resident Evil
That
expansion.
was going to be mine.
Yes,
that was going to be mine. And not, and there we go, peaking. Oh, with our high five. And not only because I think it would be awesome, but because I would love for Matt Mercer to do a Critical Role episode using the Resident Evil campaign setting and playing as Leon Kennedy.
Yes. So for those of you that don't know, we love the great and powerful Matthew Mercer.
Originally known as Matt Miller, which will be important as we go further to keep from some confusion.
Mm-hmm. Matt Miller's Matt Miller. I said it.
Matt Miller.
Matthew Mercer is he's a kind of a king to me in my head. He's the king of the B-level nerds.
Yeah.
Right. Like, you know, you talk about Hugo Weaving being king of the nerds. Right. He's in The Matrix and The Lord of the Rings, and he's V for Vendetta, and he's Red Skull. He's in everything. Matt Mercer is king of the B-level nerds. He has played Leon Kennedy in Resident Evil. He's played Iron Man and Tony Stark, Luke Skywalker, Jesse McCree in Overwatch, Spyro the Dragon, Deadshot, Mr. Freeze, Robin and Batman and Robin, Captain America, Superman, Two-Face. He has also voice acted on shows like Naruto, Black Butler, Pokemon, Digimon, One Piece, Attack on Titan. I could keep going.
What was he in Black Butler?
I don't know. He was a demon, probably, or something evil.
But I loved that show.
He is so good at encapsulating like animal sounds and like vicious, evil words, like just kind of a dark voice.
Yeah.
And then you watch him do his show Critical Role,
which the premise is a bunch of nerdy voice actors getting together to play D&D.
Yeah. Just a little warning: it's definitely an adult show. This is not Critical Role is not a show that you sit down with your 6-year-old or your 12-year-old and listen to and watch, because they definitely do have adult themes and they curse all the time. But gosh, it's a blast. It sounded so dumb to me, and I'm like 12 hours into season 2, and I can't. I mean, that's 3 episodes, and they're on episode 43 next week.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm so far behind. They're 3.5 hour episodes.
I know.
They're so long. I made it through everything in season 1, and then season 2 started right as I started my master's, and I've been grieving over the loss of the ability to keep up with Critical Role.
To me, it's almost like it's like a live radio theater.
Yeah,
is how it feels.
Totally,
because things happen in the moment. And so he's the dungeon master for that. It's a ton of fun to listen to and watch. They have a lot of other great voice actors on there. His wife is a voice actor. She's on it.
There's another couple. Travis and Laura,
and it's just a blast.
They're amazing. And it's sad to me that Matt Mercer is not going to be the voice of Leon Kennedy in this remake. He was the original voice of Leon Kennedy in Resident Evil 2 back in 98, but said that I guess there were a lot of issues with Capcom that he had and other voice actors had, and so he decided not to take this.
Yeah, Capcom does not recognize the voice actors union or something like that.
So they're going with it non-union actors.
Oh, that's what it is.
And I think from what I read, that was a choice that they made, and so he's not going to be a part. You may be wondering, this is an interesting fact that I came across in my research. So, like I said, primarily Resident Evil 4 for me. And it took me a while to realize that Leon was voice acted by Matt Mercer in the other games, because it changes in 4 to Paul Mercer. Or Mercier. It's Mercier. Cier. So that's why I say it's important. Matt Miller is the guy that we love, and Paul Mercer was the voice of Leon Kennedy in Resident Evil 4. They're not related, but it is interesting that Matt Mercer and Paul Mercer are the voice actors of Leon Kennedy.
Interesting.
Yeah. Huh. The more you know.
More you know. Star. Oh, man.
What else do I have? Okay. I love this series. Their puzzles are excellent.
Yeah, the puzzles.
Their jump scares, like I said. I mean, jump scares in horror are synonymous and often done really poorly, and just they're cheap. But in Resident Evil games, like the jump scares are legitimately horrifying
Yeah.
in a way that you don't find in a lot of other games. Character development is surprisingly well done. Like, I wouldn't say character development as much as plot development through characters. So you learn more about characters as you go along. You learn more about Ada Wong. You learn more about Leon Kennedy. You learn more about the different characters in the games as you progress through the story, and they become more and more awesome. There's different secrets that you discover. And like I said, resource management is done really well in a genre like I really like resource management in fantasy books.
It feels like, like magic system control.
Yeah.
If you don't have rules for your magic system, you run into issues.
I really like it in that, but I can't stand it in video games because it stresses me out so much. It's like doing a budget date with my wife.
Oh, man.
Like, that's how those games feel. But not with Resident Evil, because I don't know, they do it in a way that's really...
And they build the anticipation with it. You'll arrive and it'll start auto-saving and there's all this ammo right in front of you and a med kit. And you're like, guess there's a boss ahead. And it tells you are about to die.
Or you're in a really safe part, like it's chapter 2, and they give you a rocket launcher. And throughout the game, you're thinking, if I use this now,
I will regret it.
I know I will regret it. I need to save this for the exact villain that this is meant for. And you have to carry this thing that takes up so many slots in your limited carrying capacity for most of the game, and then it pays off, and it actually pays off. It's so satisfying.
It's not like, man, why did I not use that?
I could have just used this other gun. It's like, I would have totally died if I didn't have that rocket launcher.
I love that they they don't excuse how hard you have to work.
Oh yeah.
Like a lot of games, they give you a really big payoff, and Resident Evil games, it's actually like the world is ending. This zombie virus is on the outbreak. It's happening. So we're going to make it as if that's true. Whereas in a lot of video games, you're like, oh, you're stranded in the desert with...
Right, you're all alone.
With your 3 companions and your 1 Delta Force team, and which only has 3 people, I think, because it's Delta Triangles. Maybe, I don't know. But it's like, and then you find a cache of weapons. And it's like, it just is like, oh, look, all this weapons and ammo. How nice is that?
Convenient.
This is so convenient. And Resident Evil.
There's nothing convenient about the Resident Evil games.
They even were like, you should get really good at headshots because it kills the zombies in one blow.
Oh my gosh.
And then the zombie's head rips open and this giant snake worm comes out of it to kill you.
And in Resident Evil 2, the remake, there are certain times when you're playing where it is not in your best interest to waste the ammo to kill someone. You just want to cripple them enough to slow them down from chasing you and run away. And that's so counterintuitive from what we know, because
from modern games,
you play Borderlands or Left 4 Dead or
any other Call of Duty.
You want to kill everyone.
Yeah.
And in this game, it's like, actually, you just want to be smart.
I only have 12 bullets, so I'm going to hit that guy in the knee, so he has to crawl, and I'll pass him and the 3 other guys I just downed.
I'm going to get real close and stab him in the neck.
Right.
Or I'm going to let him hit me so that I can shake him off. It's just, like, it puts you in situations that are so cringe worthy. You just
so
hate
much
it.
harder. Oh, yeah.
Oh, and it's so good.
It's good. Oh, man. I'm just thinking about playing it.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I hope you are too. Like I said, the series is excellent. They do horror and zombies in a way that is unapologetically ridiculous.
Yeah, and
so intense.
Yeah. It's not the slow or the running zombies that we see. It's not The Walking Dead. It's not whatever it is in I Am Legend.
It's grotesque. This is a spider that somehow came out of a person. What are you talking about? Like, it doesn't really make sense.
Mila Jovovich has superpowers, but we're not going to explain how.
And it only comes out at the end of a movie 3 times at the end of a movie. Like, in
she
3
only
different
uses
movies.
it at the end of the movie 3 different times. Man, how did you do that? I don't know. Not even going to work to find out.
I guess I'm really powerful because of the T-virus and my immune system.
Who knows?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that in the last movie. It's the end of this movie. I should do that again.
Why would they do that? it's simple for plot.
It's so, if you haven't watched them, go ahead and watch. I'll warn you. I mean, it's zombies. It's gross.
Gore,
There's a lot of
guns,
gore,
cussing. There's probably nudity.
There's a little bit of nudity from Mia, a little bit, but nothing. It's not like extreme. Yeah. But they're really. I mean, if you ever want to, and I do this often, where I just want to sit down, I want to watch a really bad nerdy movie, and these satisfy that craving every single time.
They also satisfy watching a good movie when you're not like too picky.
Yeah,
like you're like, I really want to watch like a great film. They can satisfy that a little bit.
Yeah.
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 Just a little bit. I mean, they're not
not great. And like, so confession. I have held on to a PlayStation 2.
And I forgive you, my son.
For more than 10 years for 3 games.
Wow.
Resident Evil 4, Kingdom Hearts 1, and Kingdom Hearts 2.
Ooh.
I have not like done anything. They're in a box upstairs in my game room.
Keep it.
Because I know that the moment I throw that out, it's going to be like using the rocket launcher. Yeah. I'm going to regret it.
And the same with this game. The Resident Evil board game is, and as soon as it's gone, you miss it.
Yeah. And
you will be like, oh man, I shouldn't have done that.
Right. And I'm really excited. You will absolutely, like, the more we're talking, I'm close to guaranteeing you that you will see Peter and I playing Resident Evil 2, the remake, and freaking out about it like little girls.
Yeah.
And that's actually inappropriate. Not little girls. I know some girls that could handle Resident Evil probably better than me.
Yeah. I really appreciate that, Trevor.
My niece is probably good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Freaking out like I would freak out when playing Resident Evil 2 is what he'll be doing. And I will freak out like someone who freaks out and screams at the pitch and tone of a small female child.
Yep. Yeah, because that's, I mean, even when we were playing Dead by Daylight, and I was jumping up and running around the table, freaking out, pulling my hair out, like squealing like a pig.
If that's what you love, that's why we love this series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go play Resident Evil, any of them. It doesn't matter. They're all awesome.
If you find the deck building game in print, get it.
Yeah.
Hang on to it. It's fun.
And I mean, I'll probably post whichever one I'm missing. I'm missing one of the expansions. So if you want to send that to me as like, hey, we like you and go ahead and have this gift, I won't deny it.
Also, if you send it to us, we would definitely promote whoever you are and whatever you do.
Yeah. You'll get a shout out.
Yeah. And also check out, if you're 18 and up, I guess, check out the, Critical Role. Check out Critical Role.
That was really hard to get to.
It was really hard. Sorry. Check out Critical Role with Matt Mercer and a bunch of other very talented voice actors. But again, warning, adult themes.
Yeah. And don't be afraid of the threshold. It seems really intimidating, and it kind of is, but it's so worth it.
And if you don't know anything about D&D, it really is. You can go back and listen to our D&D episode. Yeah. It really is group storytelling where the characters and the readers of the book have a say in the storyline, right? They get to change the narrator's mind, kind of.
Yeah.
So you don't actually have to understand D&D that much.
No, you don't. But you'll end up wanting to play it. Thanks for listening and watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Let us know how we're doing, what you like, what you dislike. We'll hear it all. Remember, criticism, not spoilers. You can find us at prayingforsuperpowers.com, YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, whatever.
Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. We try to give out prizes every now and then for those who have subscribed and comment on different videos. So keep your ear out for those giveaways.
Yeah. We'll catch you next time.